Hello everyone, Lucy here from the Moon Priestess. So, yeah, fairly recently I was thinking about doing a tag and everything, and I was like, well, the tags out there are like, I don't know, from months ago or even years ago. So I was really happy and grateful to Simon from the Hermit's Cave. Thank you to create this tag so I can respond in a timely manner. My first tarot deck. So, as you can see there, I have the Tarot of Marsella, well, in Spanish, El Tarot de Marsella. And this was my first official tarot deck. Before going a little into that, because I like how Simon explains his history and like how tarot comes into your life and everything. So, I need to do two honorable mentions. So, the first one is to these cards, which are also Marcel. And I don't know, this was buried deep inside my knowledge or something. So I have been very lucky because my family is very open to spiritual things and rituals and candles and really just following your path and what you believe into. So they didn't really enforce any religion in particular, and I was really grateful on that. So I live in Mexico City, born and raised, and we have these newsstands, no, as you have them in the rest of the world, and we would have, I don't know, like new stuff or like you have like small cars or this book or the other, like a series to collect. So there was a series called Astrology, and on that series, it wasn't only astrology, but it was astrology and a lot of divination tools. No, so it will include tarot, it would include runes, it would include I Ching, it would include Lenormand, and a lot of things. And I was like, oh yeah, I had this box probably since I was 10, 11 years old, I think. And I saw these cards and I was like, oh, yeah, I had those cards. Unfortunately, they will only release a few. So we have the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, and then some minors. And that was pretty much it. You needed to collect a lot of the boxes, no, to collect the whole deck, and I guess I didn't. So that was like, well, my first partial official tarot deck. Then, I mean, not a tarot deck, but I do have to make an honorable mention to these the Garden Birds playing cards, because I do remember now, after being like a small kid, now like 10, 11 years old, when I was in my teens, probably, I don't know, 13 to 16, 17, I was reading with these playing cards, and I remember getting them on a trip on Seven Sisters Hill, I believe. So I had these playing cards, and I do have memories of reading with them to my friends and like asking, well, I guess silly questions, no? Like, well, does he love me? And how does he feel about me? And I love those questions where it always seem like a bit childish. So yeah, I would have these playing cards, and I would read with them in a, I'm not sure if in a predictive way, but I remember like a question was like, yeah, how does he feel about me? Or if you had like multiple options now in your with the guys you were dating or liking, I don't know. So you would see like, well, this guy looks like this, and this guy is like this. So you could choose, no? Who was the best catch? I don't know. It was really fun. I mean, I think it was the right time to do and play So, oops, sorry, I'm a little bit out of frame. So yeah, definitely these cards were really important to me in my process as, I don't know, as a reader in cartomancy and all that. So those are my two honorable mentions. So one is also these Marseille few cards that came in a astrology box, and then these the Garden Birds playing cards, which I used to read, and I sort of still do. Then here is a bag. So I put the box here, but the box is empty. I actually almost threw it away, so you can see it's a little damaged and everything. But no, this is and then this went out of print, and I don't know, people were asking me like, well, what is the one? I'm like, oh yeah, it's this one, by Sirio, and they couldn't get it anymore. I'm like, oh, so I think they went with Los Carabeo, which is a fine version as well. And now with all the historical, no reprints and everything. But this was the original bag and the original cloth for my first tarot deck, official one. So I first started to studying this formally. Let me put this aside. Formally, fairly recent, 2016, I believe. So I got this. As you can see, it's a traditional Marsella style. I believe it's type 2. And the names are in Spanish. No, this is, published in Spanish. There we go. So yeah, I mean, I think I formally started reading tarot with this deck. And it was, I believe that whenever tarot comes into your life in a form of maybe a new deck, maybe a new course, maybe a new way of reading, or when you learn something new, it also matches a specific point in your life. So yeah, I mean, tarot and the hero's journey and how it relates to our life, it's deeply connected and really powerful. So I'll just flip through. These are the backs. I think they're neat backs. So yeah, and I also studied how to make magic or magic spells with tarot, and we always use the Marsella deck. Rather, I mean, I think it's pretty common now to read with a Rider-Waite-Smith or a Rider-Waite-Smith clone or Rider-Waite-Smith inspiration, but even for magical spells and everything, you use these archetypes because, I mean, they're like raw and pure, and the symbolism, like the eagle, the way he's looking, the position and size of the hands, the four that he's making. These contain all type of symbolism and archetypes, in each card. So, I mean, I think it's a great first deck to have. I really like these cards. I like that the expressions are yeah, there we go. Yeah, the expressions they are like, it's gonna sound a little crazy, but they are like alive. So you can see sometimes they look sad, sometimes they look happy, sometimes they are looking into you, sometimes you can see in a spread they interact with each other. It's really, magical and powerful. And of course, the major arcana, maybe we talk about the major arcana too much, but the major arcana really contain, like, we could say, like, the secret to the universe, in a matter of speaking. No, how the evolution, like from temperance to the devil to the tower and then the star. No, so we can see evolution there, the ups and downs of life. No, how you go to the star, the moon, the sun, to judgment, right? And finally to the world, which will be that full cycle, coming full cycle. So, having all the elements in your life. So I think these cards are amazing. Then you go into the pips, which they bring another level of complexity. So the aces are very different. No, you can see here the sword is blue, which represents the emotion, but also the air, the crown, and also like it's very simple. I think that's the beauty in there, like the simplicity. Now then you have your two of swords, and then you can see the three of swords, how it evolves with a sword in the middle, and then you go back to the four of swords, and you go into all of them. I'm not gonna flip through them because you will see now that the style is similar, but you will see the variations. I also found that when people start learning with this, it can be very confusing, especially with swords, and then we can see here with the wands. They were like, oh, so what was swords or what was wands? And I found it interesting, and I actually, so I go to groups that are learning tarot and they use this deck or a Marsella deck, and they read for me. And sometimes I can see that they are misreading, Sometimes they don't count the number of... so they are like, oh yeah, how many are here? Like you can see 4, and 1 here, So this is the 9 of wands. But sometimes they miscount, and it brings into your brain, a different interpretation of the card. And I actually don't take it like, oh, they made a mistake, you were wrong. I actually take it into follow your intuition. I mean, I think these cards can be confusing. Let's take it that they are confusing for a reason. And if you saw here, if you thought that was a 6 instead of an 8, then maybe you were supposed to tell me the meaning, of the 6 of wands instead of the 8 of wands. And again, these are, peep style, so there is no reference to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So far from the aces that are really distinctive, and I really like these 2 of cups with the fish there, right? But then you get into the cups, and it's just cups. Sure, there is the flowers, and you can read into that as well, but it's just counting cups and knowing what it means to you, based on the cups, on the element, on the numerology. So I like the Marsella style because it can expand to a really wider range, than the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. And Rider-Waite-Smith, it's fantastic because it gives you like a very punctual meaning, and then you can expand from that. But I personally, I did like learning first from this Marsella style and then learning the Rider-Waite-Smith formally, because it allowed me to have a universe of meanings and then assign a particular one. I've seen people who struggle a bit more, that if you learn first the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's harder to extrapolate that. But it can be done. And if you started with Marsella, or if you... Oh, these 2, I think I really like the 2s, the 2 of coins, or the 2 of pentacles. No, so if you started with Rider-Waite-Smith, or you started with Marsella, if you started with Toth, or you started with another deck, whatever deck, I think that was the way it's supposed to be. And then you can decide how to expand, if you want to expand. I know some people are like, no, I only read with Rider-Waite-Smith decks, or I only read with Marcel decks, or I only read with Thoth decks. That's fair, no? That's part of your evolution. As I said earlier, this is how it connects to you. So yes, your first tarot deck has a lot of meaning, a lot of importance. And if we go back, no, to like, okay, when did I got my first tarot deck or an important tarot deck in your life, we can really see that that moment in our life was really important and really significant, and that a major event happened. No, so actually when I started this, there was a lot of change in my life. I remember I had like a whole fallout with a lot of my friends, and I was having a tough time with the family, and I was like sort of rediscovering myself, and tarot was there to help me. So I do enjoy this new approach, that we have to tarot, that it's not to predict the future, because, and I'm quoting Kelly Fitzgerald from The Truth in Story here, no, she said like, well, that depends on how you view the future. What is the future to you? Do you believe in the destiny? Yes, no, it all depends on that. No, it depends on the person that you're reading for, in your own convictions, in their convictions. So it can be whatever you want. So when we use tarot to not as just a divinatory tool and to predict the future, or to use it in a not objective way, I will say, but when we use it to discover things within ourselves, within the situations that we're experiencing, within the situations our clients are experiencing, I think tarot is a great, great tool. And I like how these days we're seeing a lot of psychology and tarot, Jung and tarot, and the archetypes, how they relate to a lot of things. Astrology is also can use in a very psychological way. So I like how we are turning these divination tools to help in our daily life. So I don't want to keep this longer. I thought it was gonna be like super short, and here I'm like almost like 20 minutes. So I hope you like this. I hope to see a lot of tags about your first tarot, and I guess more than just to see a flip through or a walkthrough of the cards is to know more about what it meant for you, what you were going through, and how important and how significant tarot was for you. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see again more videos of this tag. Thanks everyone. Bye everyone. Bye.